Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord. This is one of my favorite spots by my house, just because it's so secluded and not many people come over here. And it's so beautiful. It's a little lagoon area. But I wanted to share some thoughts. I'm going to go this way first. So way, way over there in the distance is Port Louis. But I wanted to share, I started to write an article about what I'm about to share, but I just wasn't getting the right words. I wasn't getting the feeling out on paper that I wanted to extend to the listeners. And so I decided to record a video about it. It is week 4, and we've almost been here a month. We will be here a month tomorrow. And it has been hard. And I want to be transparent about that. I want to be honest about that. While this is a beautiful place, and it's a beautiful place, we still haven't totally assimilated. There have been many layers of challenges that are to be expected when you move to a new country, or even when you're coming for a short term. However long you choose to stay, there's some acclimating that needs to happen. And while everyone here speaks English, their first language is Creole, English and then French. And the Creole is kind of this different blend of French. So I'm very dependent on so many people right now, which has been a huge stretch for me because I'm such an independent person. Anybody who knows me knows I just kind of handle my business, and if you ask me to do something, it was done 2 days ago. I'm that kind of person. But there's been so much self-reflecting and so much that I wasn't actually picking up on that was going on. And yes, I'm still covered in mosquito bites, no matter how hard we're trying to prevent that. I went through, well, for starters, the culture shock and the homesickness has been in waves. It's gone up, it's gone down, but still knowing why I'm here. But the last few days, yesterday morning it broke off me, but there were a couple of days or so there where I was feeling pretty low and very sad. And I wouldn't say that I was like, someone wouldn't have diagnosed me with depression, but I was certainly depressed, to the point that I was looking at tickets to come home and thinking about what would be the consequences of coming home. What would coming home look like on an earthly matter and on a spiritual matter? I had to get to a place yesterday. I just got before the Lord and just the night before yesterday morning, I prayed to the Lord before I went to bed, and woke up in the morning and remembered the scripture the Holy Spirit brought to my mind, that the garment of praise lifts off heaviness. So I got up, got my coffee, and got right into worship. And I worshiped for quite some time and just allowed for him to minister to my soul, which allowed for him to get me to a place where I could hear that still small voice. And the Holy Spirit spoke into me of a few things. I was honest with him about how broken I was feeling and so out of control. And I was honest about all the things. I named everything, whether it was good or bad. I didn't care. I just was transparent because he can already see it anyway. all the things that I can't control, all the things I don't have the answers to, all the responses of other people and their behaviors and some of the things in the States and here, and what I was going through with that, because that's been a challenge too. And the Lord, this transition in my life has brought up things that I think the Lord had been meaning to deal with me on, things that He didn't want me focusing on anymore, things that keep coming up from time to time. And some of those things are a little too personal to share, but nonetheless, He saw them, and He knows how to deal with those fragile places in our lives. And what He brought to me was Elijah. And he's been showing me things through Elijah, actually the past maybe week or two almost, about how Elijah was feeling down for about 3 days, and he went and sat and he was rehearsing all his failures. And the Lord came to him and said, why are you here? And the Lord wasn't asking because He didn't know that he wasn't already there, or he wasn't asking him because he didn't know the answer, but He was wanting to get Elijah back, pull him back in, kind of like He did with Adam in the garden. And He did the same with me. And it was on two levels. One, why was I here going over past failures, going over into these places and spaces that He has dismantled already? And then why was I here in Mauritius, in the middle of the Indian Ocean, reminding me of what was true and not what the lies were? Because what He revealed to me was that He was in the Spirit dismantling all the things. He told me to leave behind things. He told me to come out of the American system. He told me to come out of a lot of things, not just physically. That He had dismantled certain relationships. He had dismantled ways that I was living. He had dismantled a system that I had asked for. He reminded me, you asked for this. You asked for me to break cycles. You asked for the truth. And I am doing that. And when we ask Him to do things, it does not always look like what we think. In fact, 9 times out of 10, it's not gonna. I was exhausted in the United States. I was working so hard, and yeah, I was paying my bills, but like everybody, barely. And then having nothing left to show for it, I was exhausted and not really doing the things that were really in my heart and that I was called to do. I was doing some things that I was enjoying, sure, but I wasn't fulfilled in the ways that I knew that the Father wanted for me and that He means for mankind. The way that this world is structured and the way things have happened was not His will for us. It's like a form of slavery. And that's how I felt. I felt enslaved. But bringing me here, it was almost like, the old saying, how they talk about the elephant who was in the cage. They caged the elephant, and then once they opened up the cage and let the elephant go, the elephant didn't know it was free, and so it just stayed in its place. And that's how I was feeling. I didn't understand that He had brought me into freedom, that He was showing me truth about certain individuals, that He was showing me truth about certain things, people, places, and things. And He was breaking cycles. And what I was experiencing, and he had dismantled a system, it's already done. But what I was experiencing was the residue and the dust of that dismantling. Grief of an old system broken, even though it was good for me. That the enemy had no authority and no power, but that the enemy, in his residue and dust, which is what I was feeling, was trying to distract me and get me sad and get me scared and get me to turn back so that I wouldn't complete the assignment, so that I wouldn't complete the journey, that I would go back to Babylon, that I would go back into Egypt. is what the enemy was trying to do. The enemy is really good at making things seem as such. They're making things that we already feel a little bit bigger. And it wasn't that the Lord wasn't acknowledging that the place that I was in was heavy and emotional. He was coming to minister to me, like he did with Elijah. He brought him bread. He brought an angel to touch him. He brought comfort. He didn't argue with Elijah. He didn't condemn him. He didn't shame him. He didn't rebuke him. None of the things. He just said, I'm going to feed you because the next place that I'm bringing you is too great for you, and you will need your strength. And the Lord was ministering the same thing to me. And he gave me instructions yesterday of his expectations of me in this place. And he spoke to me a repositioning. That this is what repositioning can feel like. And a friend of mine told me yesterday, she said, I think you should really start speaking about what's going on, because I think a lot more people here in the expat, who are expats are feeling that. They may not be feeling it on in the same way that I am, because I follow Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. That is how I live my life. And not everybody here does that. But they might still be feeling these deep feelings of grief when you get to another culture. And that's just one layer. The food's different here. I miss our food. I miss my late 4th of July chips. I miss Trader Joe's. I do. But I also remembered the many reasons the Father told me to leave and why. And he promised that if I waited upon him, he would give me strength and he would renew it, and he's not going to leave me nor forsake me. That he will mount us up on wings like eagles. When we trust in him, he's our place of refuge. And I knew that, but I needed to be reminded. And I needed to see. I asked him, I said, Father, I need hope. I need clarity. I need to understand. Because 50% of me wants to go home and 50% of me wants to stay in obedience. But if I disobey you, what will happen? Because the truth is if I disobey him and go back, I'm placing myself in judgment. Just like a good parent. When our children don't do what we ask them to do, there's consequences for that. And depending on their age or whatever it is that they did that wasn't in alignment with what we asked them to do, there is somebody coming by singing, so that's just how that goes sometimes. This is a public area, so anyway, it's just like a good parent. So, and he's a good father. And he let me know this is not punishment. This is protection. I am denying access of other things to disrupt what I am rebuilding and what I am repositioning you to do. This is an alignment. And he told me, don't interrupt and step in prematurely what I am already taking care of. I don't need your help, daughter. I got this. And so yesterday I was with him in fellowship and in his presence for hours, because that's where I needed to be. I needed him to give me drink and to give me food, because I was thirsty and hungry for him. I needed his comfort. I needed his strength. Because he says, why so downcast, O my soul? Put your hope in me. And I needed him to do that for me. And he will do it. He sees the needs. He sees all the things that are going on here. And we take for granted so many things. There is so many layers of changes that I am going through right now. And I'm not a victim. I chose to obey the Lord, and I'm choosing to let him have his way in my life and his perfect will to manifest through me. This is a state of mind. And it's a change of direction. It's coming out of something that no longer fit my life because it was hurting me. And he showed me things in the spirit about certain things that he had dismantled, that he had taken care of. And I don't have to worry about those things anymore. And that I can step into this with no shame. No, I don't have all the answers, but he does. And it's okay for me to rest in what he's called me into. And I was struggling with that. I was struggling with relaxing because I'm so used to constant movement. And if I don't do this, if I don't do that, and all the things. And he's letting me know, no, I've dismantled all that. I am taking care of you. You have rest on all sides. And that he was letting me know, step into that. Step into it. And he's definitely doing new things. I'm meeting lots of people. I've met so many wonderful people. I've met people from Australia and South Africa. I said Australia, yes. Belgium, the Netherlands, the locals. And understanding that, I'm going to talk about that in another video about the special needs community. That's a whole separate video, and I'm going to post a video about that soon. Because that was part of my grief. And like I said, it was in layers. There were many things that I was concerned about. And, some people who've come here are just living their best lives, and they should. They should be free to do that. But the Lord was showing me I still have some areas where he's healing some places. I've come a long way. He's also showing me how far I've come. And the challenges and all the things, the generational things that have been broken off of my life. And he wants me to step into this. All of the things that him and I have done together over the years. He just happened to bring me here. It could have been anywhere. I miss familiarity. I miss the convenience that we have in America, The stores here, they close at 7 o'clock in the evening, and on the weekends they close at 2 p.m. But those are no complaints. That's probably actually good. It gets people to come in and get inside. People come inside here. There's not a lot of running around on the streets. The people are not on their phones all the time. I've seen very little of that. I do not see teenagers on their phones. I'm not saying that they're not. I've not seen much of it. This is a culture that's very family-centered, and that's good. And they are about 20 years behind us, maybe more. But the one thing that may seem a certain way can be the very medicine that we need. Technology's good for some things, but our culture's gotten so away from so much. There are people who are they're lonely. I just received a text message from somebody I don't even know in the States in a group, and she's lonely. She's thirsty for fellowship. She's hungry for true companionship because everybody's on their phones and inside, and no one is fellowshipping and being real with each other. So I had many things in my heart that I was grieved about. Even, some of the way that those who are from other countries operate here, especially Americans, that isolation is still there, and we have to get rid of that. That is not God's will. Sometimes there's seasons of it, but not as a way of life. So yesterday, that broke off of me. And last night I slept so well. I needed permission to be free, to be okay, and to be exactly where I'm at. And encouragement from some of the other aspects, like my diet. I'm not eating necessarily the way I would normally eat, and that's been hard. But also bringing up things that I need to deal with. And that are being dealt with, that are dealt with. That it takes time to acclimate. Takes time to get used to. Everything here is different. Everything. But it's good. And the Lord was gentle with me and let me know it's good. It's okay, daughter. You are my beloved. And yes, you heard me correctly. He told me, don't quit. Don't turn back. Stay exactly where you are. And he gave me instructions on how he wants me to do that. And I'm going to listen to him.